offer them different modalities and functional diagnostics to be able to do that. And success to me looks like being able to actually see and bring a sense of community and unity into Abingdon. And then also eventually being able for us to hop back and forth to the herb field from the office and not just have to stay in the office full time.
Awesome. Very good.
Thank you. Next is Jennifer Lowe.
She came on or came in the room and I let her through. I don't know if she's. Ooh, maybe let's come back to her. She came up.
Megan Boardwine.
Hi, I'm Megan Boardwine, and I opened the bookseller with my husband at the very, very end of May of this past year, 2023. We are a small used bookstore, retail space that specializes in repurposing. We also host literary events. We actually have our first writing class coming up next week, which is super exciting. So yeah. And success, I'm going to define it as just opening a brand new business. What success is to me right now, that is maintaining the business and paying the bills. So
yes, paying the bills is important. That's a great success metric.
Thank you, Megan. Angelina Charette.
Can you hear me okay? Okay. I'm Angelina Charette. My mom and I'm here representing on our behalf for Platter and Pour. We are a wine and charcuterie bar. We really focus on bringing new flavorful experiences to Abingdon, something that both locals and tourists can enjoy. I think to us, and she might think differently, but from our perspective on my side, really just the relationships that we build with the people that we interact with, and then being able to provide not necessarily high end, but just really unique food items to people in a more casual environment than what I feel like most people would expect to try them, just to kind of bring people some new experiences and provide some new openings for places to go and things to do.
Awesome. What does success look like? Oh yeah, never mind. Sorry.
It seems, no, you're good. Do you want me to reiterate? I think I just worded it wrong.
No, I feel no. As soon as I said it, I realized you had kind of woven it all together. No, you're good. That was very good.
Thank you. Jeremy Blackwell.
I'm Jeremy Blackwell, and I just recently opened Epic Training Center. So we are a functional fitness gym here in town, not your traditional key fob. So we run classes here to bring us into community to fitness and more of a holistic approach to getting in shape. And success to me is building a thriving, happy, healthy community. So.
Thank you, Jeremy. I can't see everyone, so I'm just going to ask, is Cassie on yet? We can come back to her.
I'm here. Let me tell you, these 6 o'clock start times really cut into my dinner. Okay. He said, "I don't think you'll have time." I said, "You watch me." So I'm sitting up here eating chicken. Hello, I'm Cassie Rowe. I'm here representing Shaked. We are a couture milkshake and bake shop in Abingdon. We opened in May, and so we have a lot of small batch gourmet goodies that we make, and we do the fun and crazy big milkshakes. And if I were to define success, in my opinion, I'm a co-owner, but in speaking for myself, I feel like we've already been successful, because our mission when we started was to create a spot that anyone could come and celebrate and have a great time. Maybe they don't come every week or every day, but when it's time for a birthday or something special, they definitely come and see us. And just recently we did a poll on our Facebook page, and the answers that we received were just really cool. Some people were saying that they have been to us, 10, 15 times already just since May, which is a lot, but that's okay. So like I said, I feel like we've already been successful. We've worked together and created a space that people just really look forward to and enjoy coming to.
Awesome.
Thank you, Cassie. Scott Rowe.
Hello, my name is Scott Rowe. I am opening a Touch of Grace. It's going to be like a inspirational / Christian bookstore. It's just going to have stuff in there to help you stay motivated, to help you keep moving through the day. And it's just going to help you get through whatever journey you're on and stuff. And if I was thinking about, what is it? Success. I mean, I think if I can help one person stay motivated that's, going through depression and stuff like that, that would be a success.
Awesome. Very good.
Thank you, Scott. John Wood.
Good evening, everybody. So I'm talking about the Emporium of Abingdon. I want to bring in the tourist crowd that we have that is abundant in our area, that comes in every year to either see the police change, the creeper trail, the barter, Martha. I want to take advantage of that to where tourists can come in, even our local people can come in and shop and see a taste of what our local artisans, vendors, and makers have to offer. And like I said, it's offered to both tourists and our locals, because a lot of people in our area don't see how talented this area really is. And I want to bring in vendors to be able to do that. Success to me is people that are return customers. I want to see the same people that come in from tourists, or the same people in the local community that continue to come shop here. I want to see somebody that may live far off and they come visit us again and they visit my store again. So that to me is a success, when I can get the same repeat customers year after year, season after season, and they enjoy, and they come in and see different items that they're not going to see in their hometown.
I love it. That's great.
Thank you, John.
Thank you.
Kitsy Manuel.
Hey guys, I'm Kitsy. Anita, why am I always last? I'm always last.
It's just the way it's on the thing.
I'm teasing. So
I'm last on purpose.
I'm Love and Light Specialty Boutique. We are a brick and mortar store in downtown Abingdon. We are a faith-based business, so we do have some of the things that Scott's going to have in his shop, but he's going to do it on a much grander scale. But that is where we come from, and that is success to me, is bringing people closer to their faith, and also just being a vital part of our downtown. And it's just so awesome to watch the growth of Abingdon in the short amount of time that I've been in business. It's pretty cool.
Awesome.
Thanks, Kitsy. Megan Wardwine.
I already went, but I can go again.
I'm sorry.
No, okay. Nikki and Jennifer. You need to, those two.
Okay. All right. Let's do Nikki McNew.
Hi, my name is Nikki McNew. I'm with Alley Cat Cafe. We are a social and event space and cat foster home. I think success for us looks like a community that we have built, and what we would really like to do is help get a handle on Abingdon, Washington County, and the surrounding areas' feral cat populations, adopt out cats that have potential to be in a home-like setting, and then make sure that the ones that are not and are more fit for a colony are all vaccinated, spayed, and neutered.
Awesome. Very good. We have that issue in Marion as well, except we're not allowed to call them feral. They're homeless because they are all well taken care of, but there are a lot of them.
That's awesome. The amount of people that I've made connections with that manage colonies in the surrounding areas are incredible. I know a lady who manages 2 colonies in Glade Spring, and one has like 20 cats and one has like 50 cats. So, and she's been very helpful to us in this learning process.
Awesome.
Thank you, Nikki. And Jennifer Lowe.
Hi, sorry, I was a few minutes late today. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. I'm an audiologist, and we do hearing tests, hearing aids, trying to offer more affordable options and just educate people on how to make smart decisions with their hearing health care, like insurance coverage and things like that. And we really want to add balance and dizziness to our clinic. And so success for me looks, I just wish more people treated their hearing loss so that, you know, less people would develop dementia and memory loss, and it would just be a better world and families wouldn't have to go through that. So, and just having patients come back to you, that's such a good feeling when somebody comes to you and like a repeat patient that stays with you for a long time because they really love what you do and feel like you're a good healthcare provider. I love that feeling. So that's what success would look like for me.
That's wonderful.
Thank you to everyone. Turn it over to you, Alex.
I'll tell you what, how about if I would like the pleasure of introducing her, if you don't mind, because she is, sorry, I had something to go by. First of all, we're delighted to have Letterpress Communications as one of our sponsors this year for the first time with the Business Challenge, but we're also happy that they're supporting us by being a presenter. And if you're not aware, tomorrow we have a new knowledge session, and they're going to be doing for the next 4 months, each month, a session on marketing. But if you're not familiar with Letterpress Communications, they are a boutique marketing agency based out of Farmville, Virginia, with offices in Marion and in Stanton. Letterpress specializes in rural, community-powered marketing and serving a wide range of industries across the Commonwealth and into North Carolina. By focusing on community, Letterpress helps their clients leverage the power of their teams and their stories to create growth and ultimately good for their community, which is why having them as a partner in this challenge is such a great fit for what we're doing and trying to accomplish. Now, as for our speaker, Alex is no stranger to us. She's been involved for a number of years, but Alex joined Letterpress Communications about 3 years ago, and it serves as their creative director. Based out of Marion, Virginia, Alex has a passion for rural communications and economic development. Over the last 15 years, she has served organizations across Southwest Virginia in a wide range of industries, including higher education, mental health, tourism, community development, and outdoor recreation. And I guess I got to know Alex when she was with the town of Marion and economic and tourism development. So I have known her for a number of years, and I'm excited because tonight's topic is one of my favorite things when we're talking about business is marketing and promotion. So Alex, I am totally turning it over to you now.
All right. So while I'm getting my share screen up, I'll add just a little bit more that I have been where you all have been. My husband and I own a brewery here in Marion, and in 2017, we took Marion's business challenge and wrote our pitch and wrote our business plan and won a grant through there. So I've been so inspired hearing all of your business pitches. All the things that you guys are doing is fantastic. And your successes are perfectly in line with some of the things that we're going to talk about tonight. But my biggest thing, if you take nothing else away from this, remember that your class, this group, you all are each other's community. So even though there were some competing businesses in there, a rising tide floats all ships, and you all will be amazed at how much you'll be able to help each other as you continue building your businesses. So if you take nothing else from that, take that and run with it. Tonight, we're going to talk about content marketing for small businesses. Sandy mentioned that we'll be doing a series over the next through May. This is a mashup of all of those. So you're getting like little snippets of each of those things that we're going to be talking about. So if you want to deep dive on any of them, you can join those new knowledge series or watch the recordings. So we'll start off, and I did my research. River Feet was the winner last year, so there's a little inspiration for you all as we're going through. This is also very casual, so feel free to stop me or raise your hand with any questions. Sandy, will you be monitoring the chat if somebody puts something in?
Yeah, I'm sure any of the team, the challenge team will. Thank you.
Okay, but if somebody puts something in the chat, feel free to stop me too. All right. So we've already got to know each other. We'll continue through here. We've talked about these things. Here's the Letterpress team. So you all know that I'm a small business owner. We're a small business too, which is what kind of led me to join Letterpress. We were founded by Ilse Lerser. She was a reporter for the Farmville Herald and realized that people were having a hard time telling their stories in Southside. I think we have that issue here in Southwest too. Sometimes it's hard to feel like we have anything good. So she wanted to help people tell their stories. We started out, she actually took a Longwood Small Business Development Center class. And now we are still clients of the Longwood SBDC. We're also consultants now. We teach classes for them, and they're one of our clients. So every business starts off small, but we've been right there growing over the years. We'll have been in business 10 years next year. We're at a team of 10 full-time employees. All right, so we're going to start with branding. This is my favorite way to look at branding. It's so easy to think of branding as just your logo, but there is so much more to that. So think of it as an iceberg, and that whole bit below the water are the things that make up your brand. Jeff Bezos, I think, says it best, that your brand is what people say about you when you're not in the room. So how are you leaving your legacy with customers, future customers? It's your fonts and your colors. It's your photos, whether you're using original photos, which I highly recommend. If you're using stock photos, this presentation was built in Canva. So if you're using Canva Pro, there's an amazing amount of stock photos. But I always encourage people to really take a look and make sure that even a stock photo feels like your business. We all know what Southwest Virginia feels like. So it's easy to get in there and look for photos that feel like here. It's your tone, it's your messaging, it's your customer service. So not just the official posts that you make, but when you respond to reviews, all of those things help build your brand in a meaningful way. And understanding your brand also means gathering your assets. So all the things that we're going to talk about content and channels, and we're going to do a little dive into some of the more popular social channels. But it is the most frustrating thing when you go to make a Facebook post and you can't find a photo or you can't find a logo. So I highly encourage you, as you're growing your existing business or starting a new one, take a moment to gather your assets. That's your logo files, PNG files if you're using Canva. It's your brand colors, photos and visuals that you already have, other visual elements like icons, and then knowing your channels. So where are you going to be putting these things? Social, website, print, marketing, packaging, all of those things can change what file types you need. And then have a strategy for your content moving forward. So if you're a Google user, using Google Drive and actually building a folder where you keep all of your important business information, not just your branding, but your copies of taxes and copies of your business license. Having those all in one place can make things a lot easier. So the basics, we're going to start with your communications channels. Can anybody tell me an example of an owned communications channel? And if we were in person, I'd have candy to throw at you, but I can't virtually throw candy. Anybody have an idea of an owned channel?
Would it be like the phone numbers and stuff that you get from your customers?
That would actually be more of earned, but close. How would you gather those phone numbers?
Well, I own a different business, but in that business, people will leave me their phone number to call them back, or like to send them their invoices and things like that. And so that, I guess, gives me permission to contact them, if I need to do something like that.
Absolutely. And I would say you're earning those phone numbers.
Okay.
Yeah, that's great. So your owned channels are anything that you control what is said on them. So your website is your number one owned channel. I highly encourage you, even if you don't have a ton of information to put on a website, having a landing page is super important. That's going to help drive people who are searching you to your information, to your website. But it's giving you a place where you control the content. It's a newsletter. It's any of your print marketing, any advertising that you are, any advertising. Oh, Janet, you got it. I saw it in the chat that you own your website. Yep. It is, so those things that you can control. Social media is kind of maybe yes and no. You can control the content you put there, but you can't control how it gets out to people as much as you can with your own channels, like your website. Any ideas of an earned channel? So we've got Cassie earning phone numbers. Reviews.
Jeremy Blackwell in the chat has said, Alex has said reviews.
Yes, thank you. That is a great one. And word of mouth is your number one earned channel. Some other earned channels would be, and these things are still valid for our area, would be getting a news story written about you, being interviewed by a radio station, putting out a press release and having that picked up. So there's some traditional earned channels, but word of mouth is your number one earned channel. And that is not just what people are saying about you and how they're driving people to your business, but it's your reviews, how people are interacting with you on social media, all of that.
Becky Ramsey's saying social media followers.
Yep, you got it. And then paid. What's an example of a paid channel? This would be the easiest candy, y'all, if I had candy.
Radio spots. You pay for a radio spot or a commercial that you pay to provide.
Yep, absolutely. Anything that you're paying for. So that is traditional advertising, radio advertising, billboards, social media advertising is definitely a paid channel. So that's why I said it's kind of owned, it's kind of paid. It's a little bit of both. And we'll talk a little bit more about how everything is pay to play now. But all of these things are important. And this is a really important and easy way for you to actually build your marketing section of your business plan, because you can actually break it down by owned, earned, and paid. And then your paid channels can be how you're budgeting for marketing. But as a small business owner, I understand that time is precious. So that's the other thing is we'll talk about is your time is just as important as making money. So if you're going to focus on anything, make sure that you are always getting your content to your own channels, and then you're earning before you're paying. So these are in order of priority. If you only have time to do something with your owned channels. And when you have a little more time, do something with your earned channels, and then go into paying. Target audiences. Several of you talked about who your target customers are. So you are well on your way to knowing who you should be marketing to. And again, time is precious. So knowing your target audience can help you make the most of your time. So some things to think about with your target audience. How old are they? Where do they live? So some of you are looking for local customers. Some are looking for tourists. How do you get locals to know about you so that when their family comes to visit, they bring them to you as well? Is your audience gender specific? Who are your competitors' clients? So that's another important thing to be thinking about, is who are your competitors and who are their customers? Who is their target audience? Creating a target persona is another good way to think about your target audience. So some of you who are already in business, you may have that one customer who really embodies your target audience. So think through who they are, where they live, what they do, what they like, all the way down to like what their favorite snack is. It's kind of fun sometimes to build that target persona, because then when you're writing content, you can have that person in your mind. If you don't have a real life person, kind of think through imagining what that person would be like. So their interests, their key behaviors, what doesn't motivate your audience? That's really important to think about. And that goes into a whole nother subject of thinking about generations and what motivates the different generations. And then again, who isn't your target audience? So it's okay to have a segmented, focused audience. Content pillars. So how do you know what content to put out? Your content pillars are how you can kind of create a system for what you're doing. And most importantly, don't sell anything, just be useful. One of my favorite examples of content marketing, and it's kind of an older example now, but this was during the recession in 2008. There was a pool company who saw a huge downturn. Nobody was putting pools in because of the recession. But he didn't want to give up. So somebody had suggested that he start a blog, and he started writing about how to choose pools. So like, how do you choose an above ground or a below ground pool? How much should you be saving for a pool? So he started writing these blogs and realized that people were interacting with them. They were reading them. He was getting traffic to his website. Because what was happening was people were dreaming about putting a pool in when the recession was over, when they could have that kind of thing again. So kept at it. And when the recession ended, he had a ton of customers who wanted to put a pool in, because he wasn't selling anything. He was just being helpful. So the more you can be helpful, the more you'll bring people in. Some examples of content pillars, and these are loose. All kinds of different things can fit in them, and you can have content that could fit into multiple pillars as well. So promotional, educational, inspirational, entertaining. And then we like to add a fifth one, and that's community. So an example of a promotional post would be that you're having a sale on books, and here's how long the sale is running, and we'd love for you to come. So I'm picking on Megan with the bookseller. So she could have a post that's about that. Then she could have a post about used books. I'm sure that there are stats about recycling and reducing and reusing through not buying new books. So she could have a post like that. An inspirational post could be a quote from a favorite author. An entertaining post could be a fun video of a customer shopping, or new books that are coming in, or maybe somebody who's bringing books to sell. And then a community post. I know the bookseller is in Wolf Hills Coffee. So You could be sharing about things that are going on within your own building, within your block, within your community. So sharing and tagging each other in posts is another way to help build your content and show that you're a part of the community. Many of you mentioned community as part of your success. So that's a So the basics, setting up and measuring success. So again, time is precious. So anything that you're doing, you want to make sure that you're measuring your success and making the most out of the time and money you're putting into your marketing. So the most popular channels worldwide, as you can guess, this is about a year old now, but Facebook is still number one. Facebook and Instagram are starting to come up together because of how Meta Business Manager combines those two. The second channel is actually YouTube. So even past TikTok, people are still looking at videos on YouTube. And then it kind of goes on from there. So you can kind of prioritize where you're posting social wise. And again, we primarily are talking about social because it is free to a point. So outside of a website and your branding, social is kind of your next step when it comes to building out your content channels. Setting your profile up for success is so important. So have you filled it out completely? Are your images clean, clear, and professional? Do they match across your channels? That is huge. So your branding, it takes sometimes up to 10 touches with somebody for them to recognize your branding. So it is super important to make sure that all of your profile images match. If you can make all of your handles match, if everything can match back to your website, that visual branding is actually a way to get people to remember you. And so the more you can have that match and recycle through, the more people will remember you when they are looking for a tubing adventure. They're going to remember your branding and hopefully be top of mind. Are you building relationships? So again, are you sharing posts from your community? Are you tagging people? Are you engaging with your customers? Are you selling an experience, not just a product? Are you incorporating fun into your strategy? Social media is supposed to be fun, so having some lightheartedness is never a bad thing. And are you using each platform's native scheduler? That's another thing. If you don't take anything else from this, use each platform's native scheduler. It's really tempting to pay for a service like Hootsuite, but we're finding that the algorithms are actually deprioritizing posts that are coming from third-party hosts. So having something like that, or even know Constant Contact can do posts. It's super tempting to do that, but you are actually like deprioritizing your content on those channels when you post that way. So posting through the native scheduler is definitely important. And don't forget your review sites. You really should treat your review sites just as you would a social channel. So Google Business, Apple Maps, check your Apple Maps. I have had several small businesses recently say that Apple Maps was not correct. And it's not pulling the same information the way Google is. So if you're a brick and mortar, make sure you check your Apple Maps. But TripAdvisor, Yelp, sales sites, all of those things, you can have a profile, you can claim your business, you can put your own information up there, you can make sure that your business hours are correct and your location is correct. You can make your images match your social channels. So complete those profiles and think of them like a social channel, because it is a way to engage with people. So if somebody says, I had a really great time, I want to come back, take a moment to thank them for their review. That is huge to people. And when you have a bad review, take a moment to say, I'm sorry you had a bad experience. Please contact me, and take it offline. And hopefully you can have a conversation with that person and maybe even get that review changed. So again, monitoring those sites is really important to your word of mouth. So how do you measure success? it's setting goals, putting numbers to them. Those goals can be as simple as more followers, or I want to see 10% more followers this year, or better engagement. I want to have 2 to 3 people comment on each of my posts. Success could be as simple as following your content calendar. So if you're going to take some time to create a content calendar for the month, actually posting all of those and getting into a rhythm, that could be a measure of success. But reviewing your analytics is the place to start. So, you always want to point your audience back to your own channels. Again, that's where your website is important. So if you don't have Google Analytics on your website, I highly recommend adding that, because that's going to help you measure your return on investment. So if you place an ad and you post it and you have people that your call to action is going back to your website, you can start tracing from the time that ad was placed. You can start looking at your website views to see if they have increased. If you're a tourism-based business, your metrics are really important for grants. If you're going to go after like a micro business marketing leverage grant, you can use your social channel followers and your website visitors towards the in-kind match you have to get those grants. So again, putting people back to those own channels, because then you also can own your analytics. And I would be remiss if I didn't add something about generative AI. We have been experimenting with AI for almost a year now. And it can actually be a huge benefit to writing social posts. But again, you have to know your brand. You have to know your tone, your messaging. I kind of joke that AI, some of the social posts, it sounds like it's a bunch of dads sitting in a garage making dad jokes. And you can see that has happened here. So, we're based out of Farmville. This post originally made a joke about the game Farmville, but we had to take it back and call it a Facebook game because most people don't remember that game now. So it is dated a little bit, but it can definitely be helpful when you're wanting to generate content. And if nothing else, it can help you just boost your productivity. So you can have it write several posts for you, go in and change them and tweak them as needed, but it does save time in some places. All right, Facebook. Any questions about your channels and your content before we dive into the platforms?
So I've noticed that when I go on and make a post from my page and I schedule it, it seems like I get less interaction than if I stop what I'm doing and make a post just in the moment. I haven't noticed any like time of day, every morning when I do it, it's different or whatever. It seems like lately, and it used to do great, but it seems like lately, if I sit down and I schedule posts for a couple of days, they don't get as much traction and interaction. Is that something new, or?
That's you're the second person I've heard that from recently. That is definitely newer. My question would be, is there any difference in your real-time post versus your scheduled post? Like when you do a real-time post, are you doing a video?
Not usually. I don't do all the extra like TikTok and all the things. I'm too old for that. But so I try to I do a lot on Canva.
Okay.
I don't know if it reacts differently to like graphics that I make or to actual pictures, or I don't know. I haven't really paid that close attention, just enough to know that it's different now, it seems like.
Yeah. And that's a perfect segue to what we're going to talk about, because Facebook is constantly changing their algorithms. And I'll since we're talking about it, I'll go ahead and kind of jump forward just a little bit. Videos currently do better in the algorithm. Photos do better. Graphics that have a minimal amount of text are good, but you definitely want to use less text. That's always important. And then you should never post something that doesn't have a visual with it. So I would encourage you to think about where you're seeing dips and if there's anything different with your visuals or with the length of the post, that can make a difference too. We're also, unfortunately, heading into we are in a presidential election year. So we're already seeing, like we saw a bunch of verification things happen with Google Ads, like they were kind of shoring everything up for that. We've seen some of the same thing with Meta. So things are going to get tightened down this year, which is probably going to also affect how your posts are being seen by people. Unfortunately, on average, I skipped the quiz section. We have this quiz game, but I never think it works very well virtually. But does anybody have a guess of what percentage of your followers see your posts?
Is it 10%?
Nope, less than that. John says 3. 50. Unfortunately, it is actually less than 1%. So, right, Sandy's shaking her head. It's disappointing. But I always remind people your posts do live on. So you're also building content in a place where somebody comes looking for you. They're going to find your content as well. So I take it all with a grain of salt when it comes to the algorithms and your posting. And again, that's why owning your channels is important. Cassie, owning those phone numbers. If you've got to get in touch with somebody, you can get in touch with somebody. Newsletters are still a thing. People still open email newsletters and paper newsletters. So think through ways that if you needed to get in touch with your clients, that you could do that. A lot of people will post to social for a weather closing. I always encourage people to post to your Google business page too. And Google Business, unlike Facebook, will let you change your hours on the spot. So if you have a weather closing and you need to tell people that, put it on Facebook, put it on your social media channels, but also change your hours on Google Business, because that will stop somebody from navigating to you and then you're closed. And it can take less than 30 minutes for Google to make that change. Jennifer, great question. Is it worth paying for boost posts? Absolutely. We're going to talk a bit more about that, but having a budget of $100 a month for boosting posts is huge and will help that algorithm. So Cassie, that would be another thing that you could do, is post some things in real time, schedule some posts, and then boost your scheduled posts and see if they do better. Because I'm willing to bet that boosting them will help that. Because again, Facebook wants your money. So they're going to prioritize your content if you're giving them money.
I've noticed that if I have something really important to talk about, I will do a poll on our page, like ask people questions. And so in the past, we've gotten over 100 comments because people are just talking back and forth. And then I'll go on and I'll post whatever it was that I wanted to really say. And because we got so much interaction on that previous post, like people are seeing what we are talking about. So that seems to help me too.
That's definitely a social hack. Anytime that you can encourage engagement. So just like on anything you advertise, you should have a call to action. Think about what your call to action could be on a Facebook post. And it could be as simple as, tell me about your favorite book, or drop your favorite book below. Or if you've been in the shop in the last few days, tell me what you bought. Like anything like that, where you can get people talking. Who does this Jay Frank on a regular basis gives away a Sunday brunch. And if you look at his Facebook posts, hundreds of people tagging hundreds of other people, I'm sure he's high in the algorithm because there's so much interaction going on. So even if you can just give something away, or, I don't remember who it was, but back in the late summer, early fall, a local boutique did a teacher gift basket, and it was tag a teacher and tell us why they deserve this gift basket. So those kinds of things definitely can help boost you in the algorithm, especially on Facebook. But some things to know, some basics about Facebook is your post frequency. Don't ever post more than once per day. The only pages that do well with posts that happen more than once per day are like news outlets, because they're constantly having to get new information out. But if you post more than once a day, you're competing with yourself for viewers. So don't cover up your own posts. An exception to that would be like a weather notification. But then even then, just know that what you've posted recently is going to get deprioritized. If Facebook offers you a suggestion, use it. Again, their goal is to get you more engaged with the post, hopefully be buying ads. So if you see a suggestion pop up, incorporate that into your plans. And then try to engage with people 2 to 3 times per week if you can. Even if you just set aside an hour once a week to get onto your channels and look at people who have commented and like their posts or comment back to them. Also, when we do engagement for clients, we also do our community shares during that time. So if you could set aside some time to engage with your followers, but then also be sharing some community posts and tagging other businesses, that's going to help boost you in the algorithm. So creating a plan is huge. So again, Cassie, I'm going to ask around and see if our social team is seeing what you're seeing with scheduling. But even if you're not going to schedule ahead of time, you're going to post in real time, it's still helpful to put a plan together. So, and it could just be in a spreadsheet, to be honest. So you could have your content pillars, what you want to post about on a regular basis, and then plan out your posts that way. On average, I recommend 2 to 3 posts a week, maybe a couple during the weekday and a couple during the week, 1 or 2 during the weekend, depending on the type of business that you are. So knowing your content pillars and kind of rolling through them can help with that. So even if you're going to post in real time, but planning ahead and knowing what that post is going to be can be super helpful. If you're in a time crunch, just always make sure, again, like we talked about, a graphic or a photo or a video. If you're using Canva, another hack is to put some sort of motion to your image. So you don't have to create a full reel or get on video and have your face and talk to people. You can literally take a post and animate the text in Canva. Or we did Greenfront Furniture in Farmville did 12 days of rugs for Christmas last year. And we did a graphic that had the photo of the rug you could win that day. And it had snow falling. And that was the animated part, was the snow falling. That's the only thing that moved in it. But when you export it from Canva, it exports as a video. So it's a quick hack, quick way to get a video without having to put your face on and get prepared to record something. User-generated content, like we were just talking about, easy win. So asking people, tag a friend, give something away. People like to win things. So I recommend doing that once a quarter if you can, just to help boost your followers and boost your engagement. Business Suite. So if you're not familiar with Business Suite, you're going to get a ton of information about your audience here. You'll get information about when people are looking at your posts, where they're coming from, all the kind of information that you would get from Google Analytics you can get on your posts. So you can really get specific about your posts and what's doing well. And even if you don't dive deep into this, just take a look at your content. Facebook will tell you what your top performing content is. And that's a great way to choose what you're going to boost. So instead of placing an ad, you can take a post that is already performing well organically and boost that. So again, Business Manager, Business Suite, that's where you're going to find that information. Instagram. Instagram is all about photos. So the great thing about Instagram now is that you can post through Business Suite together at the same time, but keep in mind that if if you're posting something to Instagram, you want it to be a straight photo. Don't post a flyer. Those really don't do well on Instagram. And don't ever post a flyer, but don't post a graphic that has a ton of text on it, because Instagram will deprioritize that right away. High quality photos. The great thing is we all have high quality cameras in our pocket now with our cell phones. So you can take some really high quality photos with your phone. Reels. Let's see. I don't think this is going to play. It is not liking that. Okay. You're going to get a copy of this presentation so you can watch the reel when you get the copy. Oh, yep. Short form videos are the best. They do not have to be super long. I mean, 30 seconds. It's okay for it to be casual. So minimal editing. And again, this is reels for Instagram and for Facebook. Canva is a great way to add a little bit of branding to your reels. So if you wanted to add just like your logo to the end or a little bit of text, Canva is a great way to do that. And then just make sure you have a steady camera and high quality footage and good lighting. So if you can be near natural light, that's another quick way to get a great video. The same with your photos. Make sure that they're large size, good lighting, they're clear. And again, like I said, please don't post a flyer to Instagram. And remember that when you're posting the exact same content to Facebook and Instagram, your tagging is different. So it's important to go back and make sure that all your tags went through if you were doubling up on a post. Stories. Stories are a great way to share quick content. You can do some user-generated content through stories. You have fun with the stickers. You can be fun with it. And you can actually set them to not disappear. So just like a reel, you can set it to be recurring video. And again, depending on your followers will depend on what does the best. So following your analytics and figuring out if it's a reel versus a photo, what is doing better for your followers. Any questions about Instagram?
I do have one question real quick that you had mentioned, going back to Facebook real quick, one post a day. What if you make multiple posts, but it's in different categories, say hats, and this post is all hats, or jewelry, this is all jewelry. Is it okay to have multiple posts like that, or is it better to have one post and all those items? And I feel like it would lose people if you have that much to post.
Yeah. So no matter what, if you post more than once, you're going to compete against yourself for the viewers. I think if you have multiple items to post, having you could get on Canva and do a quick slideshow video that's showing multiple things, or you could do a little gallery. That would be a great thing to do in Canva, or you can add 3 to 5 images to your post. And I would break those out. And then if you have a lot of content to talk about, always lead with your most important information. But then if you want to segment out, like if you're talking about hats and jewelry and quilts, maybe, I don't know, that doesn't necessarily match, but I'm trying to think of something else artisan. You could have a little emoji for each one of those and have almost like you're making your own bullet points. Would be a way to do that and have a little bit of extra content. But I would still encourage you to do just one. Yeah. Any other questions before we move on?
Is there a specific time of day that you think is better to post? Or I usually try to think of myself, I get up early in the morning, not super early, but between 8 and 10, I guess, is when people might be getting up and getting started. So they might look at their phone, and then maybe, around lunchtime when they're taking their break at work, and then maybe between 4 and 6, are those good time frames?
I think they're all good time frames, and that's the number one question I get asked. I would say before the pandemic, it was much easier to answer that. I think after the pandemic, people's schedules are so flexible now that it is really hard to predict. We have a tourism client that I was talking to her about her newsletter, and she's been trying different days and has had good luck with Sunday afternoons. And maybe it's because people are together and they're planning trips. I don't know. That's my best guess. But I think you're on the right track thinking about how you would interact. But I wouldn't let that stop you from posting at a different time of day because again, people's schedules are so flexible that you never know when people are online. And that might be why some of your scheduled posts versus your real-time posts are doing better, because if you're in the moment and at 2:30 on a Tuesday and you post something, you might be scheduling on those times, but maybe your off hours are doing just as well too. So that would be another thing to look at. I hate that I can't answer that one anymore. It used to be really predictable. All right, moving on to LinkedIn. Don't sleep on LinkedIn. That's one of those, it's not a must-have, I would say, for most small businesses, but LinkedIn can be helpful. Again, making sure that your profile is clear and everything is filled in and matches. But if you are growing, LinkedIn can be very helpful when it comes to letting people articulating your company culture, building business to business connections, finding employees. LinkedIn's a great way to find employees, and then networking too. So building your tribe. Your content on LinkedIn is a little different from Facebook and Instagram, but it can be similar. So think about, what do you want people to know about you? How do you want your business to make them feel? It can be any kind of information about your business, but less sales and promotions, far more educating on LinkedIn. Some ways to grow your LinkedIn presence, and definitely invite people to like your page. And this could be, you could look at this two ways. This could just be your personal page, if you're trying to make more networking connections, or it could be your business page. You can have your employees invite and like people. You can feature employees on LinkedIn. That does really well. And then engaging with people like every other platform is important. But especially if you're looking to grow, LinkedIn can be a good platform for that. And you'll find that you can repurpose a lot of your content, even with just some small tweaks. TikTok. So I think Cassie said she was too old for TikTok. I'm too old for TikTok. TikTok is a full-time job, in my opinion. So I think TikTok is a great platform. It can be fun. It can be educational. I've learned a lot of things from TikTok, found a lot of recipes, all kinds of different things. But in the end, you've got to love creating video. So I'm going to pause that since it's not going to load very well. But if you're going to dive into TikTok, the things that you want to keep in mind is you want to be simple. You want to be authentic. The TikTok video here, that is the owner of Greenfront Furniture. That is Den. That's how he looks on a regular basis. He has no shame about it. Somebody told him that he needed to buy a steamer for his shirts, and he put in the steamer he'd like to get from Amazon and said, if you want to get this for me, great. But that is just who he is. That's how he is. You want to be fun. You want to focus on trends when it comes to TikTok. So those trends are really important. So if you see a trend that fits your business, jump on it. You can create series on TikTok. That's a great way to kind of boost your content. And then again, entertaining education. What does Kathy say? Not too distracted. That's another thing too. Yeah, TikTok is it's easy to get distracted on TikTok. So you have to keep that in mind too. Again, your time is precious. So if you don't love it, I wouldn't recommend doing it.
I watch people's videos, and some of them you look at like you have way too much time on your hands to do things like that. I mean, they're
Right?
very intricate, like they're movie stars because they put that much production into their videos.
Yep. I gave a presentation in Martinsville back in the fall, and there was a boutique owner there, and she had her sister with her, and all her sister does for them is create TikTok content. Like that is her job. That's all she does. I mean, she might be stocking the shelves or doing something else, but she's creating a TikTok video while she's doing it. So again, like it really does take a lot of time and energy to create something engaging. Some interesting facts, though, about TikTok. 70% of the users are 18 to 19 years old. 50% are 20 to 39. And 49% of all users have purchased something that they saw on TikTok. So that's something to keep in mind. Products and unboxing videos and just even ASMR videos where somebody's clinking their fingers on a Stanley cup. People watch those videos. And a fun fact about TikTok, it took Facebook and Instagram 8 years to have the following that TikTok generated by 2021. So just 2018 to 2021. Any questions about those channels before we move into paying for your social content? All right. So again, all of your social channels are pay to play. It's going to cost not just money, but your time too. And gone are the days of social media being free. So when you're budgeting marketing dollars, and remember some things about that. Engagement isn't just for organic posts. You can do engagement on your ads. You can promote posts that are already getting traction. So that I mentioned that earlier, that if you have a post that's doing well organically, that's a good candidate for a boost. You want to make sure you use your target audience. So again, that's going back to your brand and your messaging. You want to make sure your tone and your messaging are correct, that you know your target audience, and then you're using that targeted data to make the most of your money. You want to track your ads. So make sure that don't just place an ad and then forget about it. Go back and look and see how it did. Over time, start looking at which ads and boosts do better. And you should start seeing trends. And so that'll help you, again, plan those dollars well. And then budget. It's really easy to be like, oh, I'll put $20 to that post. I'll put $20 to this post. And next thing you know, you spent $500. Keep that in mind. Have that budget number. Write it into your business plan, into your annual budget, and stick to it. So demographics. This is where you really can be targeting your audience well. It is slightly upsetting, all the things that social media knows about us. So you can target parents. So our Farm Academy, you can target parents who have preschool age children. Facebook knows that. You can target where people work. You can target life events. I think Cassie talked about you want to be the birthday spot. You can target people based on their birthday month. You can target on relationship status. You can target on education, on politics. You name it, there's a way to target it. You also can target demographically, or geographically, excuse me. So you can target where people live. So you can put a radius on your advertising in Facebook and say you want it to hit a 50-mile radius, or you want to advertise to Abingdon, Bristol, and Marion, and nowhere in between. You can set your little bubbles to do that. It is wild how deep you can go with your targeting for social. Any questions about demographics, placing ads? Has anybody had success with their social ads? Okay. On to a little inspiration. as I said, things are changing all the time. It's hard to keep up with. Once I gave a presentation and our social media manager was sitting in there, and I finished the presentation to an email to her telling me I needed to update a slide because that had already changed. So it changes on a regular basis. So keep up with things. It's great to always be learning. So some things that we like to follow for Social Media Examiner, Hootsuite actually puts out good content, Sprout Social, Social Media Today, HubSpot does a lot of good content marketing. Again, all these places, a lot of these places want you to buy their product, but you can glean a lot of information from the content marketing that they're putting out. Also listen to podcasts, keep up with small business podcasts. There's all sorts of things out there you can be listening to, just to kind of stay up with what's going on. And then get help from your community. That is the wrong slide. I updated this I'm sorry, Tanya, Anita, and Kathy. I will update the slide when I send it. So this was when I taught this back in the fall for Marion. So ignore some of these. The town of Abingdon is a great resource. The Washington County Chamber of Commerce, the Small Business Incubator. We have the American Advertising Federation of Southwest Virginia. Those New Knowledge series. Those are huge. There is a huge archive. If you have a small business question, I'm guessing that there's a video about it. The Virginia Highlands Small Business Development Center, Friends of Southwest Virginia, if you're a tourism related business. And then we have a ton of local vendors and freelancers that are there to support you. So if you need print or promo items, just in Abingdon alone, I can think of several people. So get a little help from your friends, use your community, and help each other as well. All right. Questions? What can I answer for you?
Alex, for a small business, what would be an average amount of money that you would spend on a boost or an advertisement? Is there like a number for a small business that they should kind of look at? Should they start out small and then kind of watch what's happening with it and add some more to it? Or what's your recommendation? We try to tell people all the time that you can start out with as little as $5 and $10 and make a difference. So do you have that same kind of outlook?
Absolutely. I mean, putting any money towards it is good. I think I said earlier, budgeting about $100 a month is a good way to do it. But again, even if you just say $20 or $50 and strategically boost from there, that is super important. And I'll be honest, for our small business, for our brewery, we only pay for advertising in 2 places at the moment. We pay for a business spot on Untapped, which is like the social media for craft beer drinkers, where you can take a picture of your drink and check it in and say whether it was canned or on tap and all kinds of different things about it. So we pay for that. And then we pay for a print ad in the Hungry Mother park guide. So at the moment, those are our 2 paid channels. And again, that's not a ton of money. So whatever you can put towards it, do it, because you're only investing in your time. So all the time that you're spending building content, if you can put even $50 towards an ad, that is going to help boost the time that you've spent on that.
Alex, Janet says that she's old school and uses rack cards. Do you have any suggestions for them?
I think rack cards are super important. I am on the board for the American Advertising Federation, and we run the American Advertising Awards, and I always complain to the national organization that there is not a category for rack cards, because those are the hardest things to design. If you're a tourism industry, rack cards are still important. So I would make sure that you're putting your rack cards in good places. You could potentially pay for placement at the Virginia Welcome Centers. It's actually super affordable. So that would be a placement that you could do. We have a local service called Print Distribution Pam Randolph, she puts rack cards in all sorts of hotels and different attractions. So paying for a placement like that. And then using your rack cards as leave behinds with businesses or going to a local business that is adjacent to what you do and leaving rack cards for their customers would be a great place to use them. Janet, does that answer your question?
That's also a free service at the Visitor Center in Abingdon.
Thank you, Tanya.
So you are welcome to bring all of your rack cards by the Visitor Center, and we'll pass them out. I did see a very interesting rack card the other day where a small business also partnered with a nonprofit that had a retail shop. So it had both businesses listed on that. So now the nonprofit, which was the Arts Depot, has rack cards in conjunction with Abingdon Olive Oil Shop. So any of the partners that you can create that way, that you can work between partners, would be a good idea as well.
And I started to say, you know, Barter makes those presentations on a regular basis about where their audience is coming from. If it were me and I were doing social media, I would target the audiences that Barter is bringing in, because that's obviously the people that are willing to drive to do or see something. And so, you know, I forget what the number is, but there's some number like they need 3 to 5 things to do a day or something like that, Alex.
No. You cut out there, Kathy. What was your question?
So there's some number about once you get a tourist, you know, in the county, they need some number of things to do while they're there to keep them engaged.
Yeah. The more there is to do, the more overnights and the more tourism tax dollars that are going to come in. So if you're after tourism, looking at your key attractions like the Barter Theater, that's important. The Creeper Trail is another large attraction for the area. Virginia Tourism is also very transparent about what cities they're targeting. So just knowing that Virginia Tourism is placing ads in those places can also boost. And so that's also going in together and finding where people are advertising. That's okay to advertise, for all of you to be advertising to the same demographics. And that's going to boost each other in your paid placements. Scott.
And feel free to reach out to Chad, because Chad not only has information about visitors to Barter, he has the information about the Virginia Creeper Trail. We can tell you how many visitors visit at specific times of days. We can tell you, we have some software that will give you a lot of information. So feel free to reach out to our office and we'll be happy to share any of the information that we have. And then vatc.org is Virginia's for Lovers, and there's research on there. So it's not broken down by towns, or like the town of Abingdon, it would be under Washington County. So you can check some of those numbers out.
Yep. And all those resources can be helpful writing your business plan too. So if you're struggling with identifying your target markets, you can find out who's coming from where from those resources.
And I will just note that we're in a unique opportunity now with the casino, the Hard Rock, here in our back door, and with the millions of folks that's been going there, and it's only going to grow as they get into their permanent facility. In some of your I guess targeted marketing, you might want to include the Hard Rock. That's Virginia's first casino. Just a thought.
Yep. And it is bringing not just visitors, but new residents too. So keep that in mind if you're targeting local. All right, Scott.
Just had a quick question. What would be your point of view on trying to get more followers on your Facebook for a beginning business? We haven't even opened our doors yet, but we're trying to get a better following.
Yeah, that's a great question, and one I get pretty often. If you're not open yet, I think leading people on a journey to opening is some great content. So anytime that you have new things coming in, new images to show, or we just placed our front desk in our cash register. Bringing people along in that opening journey is important. I mean, you could even post, we're getting ready to pitch for the Washington County Business Challenge. Wish us luck. Bringing people along on that journey. And then the second part of your question is gathering those followers and gathering them quickly as a new business. My best recommendation is a giveaway. So once you're open and you feel ready for it, doing like a share, comment kind of style giveaway. So asking people to do 3 things: that they need to like the post, they need to share the post, they need to comment on the post. They do all those 3 things, and then you can enter them to win. Bonus points if you put all those names into one of those generators and then do a video and then post that video. So anytime you can repeat that content. But those sweepstakes are a great way to grab followers quickly.
Yeah, they're like a live on like Facebook Live and stuff whenever we do the giveaway and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, those videos are important.
I think the reels work really well too.
I think they do as well. And again, if you're thinking from like Mark Zuckerberg's perspective, he's trying to compete with TikTok. So if you're going to post that kind of content to Facebook, he's going to give that content more share of the algorithm, because that's the goal, is to compete with TikTok. So you almost have to kind of think backwards. What is Facebook's goal? What are they hoping to do? They're hoping to keep people on the platform. Where are people going away from the platform? TikTok. So introducing Reels was huge. So videos and Reels are definitely doing better because of that.
So when I've created a TikTok in the past, it will save it. It'll put it on TikTok, but it'll also save it on my phone. And then I go right over to Facebook and put that on as a video. Does that count as just a regular video, or is that sharing one from one platform to the other, even though it's been like saved to my phone already?
Yeah, there's a lot of people that.
Yeah.
Oh no, sorry. You go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off.
I guess the second part is it better to do a live or a video, or are they not categorized the same, that they're both great? Or
yeah, they're both great. Again, reposting from TikTok to Facebook as a reel is just good use of your content. So I always tell people that if you're going to create a bit of content, you want to pull it across as many channels as possible. So if you create a really great video and you post it to TikTok and you post it as a reel, maybe you can repurpose it for something on your website, or you can repurpose it for a newsletter. Anytime you can pull your content across your channels, it's just making the best use of your time. But it's not where you're re-uploading it to Facebook that has no connection to TikTok. And it may not even be seen by the same, probably it's not even being seen by the same people, because those users are so segmented. So that's just good use of content.
And even some of that, Alex, doesn't that have to do with your settings? Like on Facebook, it asks you if you want to post to Facebook and Instagram.
Yeah.
And so, some of those things, as far as, how you share them, has to do with the settings you have on that social media channel, right?
Yeah, it does. And so posting a video as a post versus doing a reel are 2 different things. So you have a lot of choice when you're doing those kinds of things. Yeah, Jennifer.
I was just going to say, I noticed where Janet put on there about the casino, and they will not let you, they're so funny about stuff. A lot of our patient population, like our target market, is, of course, over the age of 50, right? And a lot of them gamble. I can't tell you how many of them come in here and tell me, their gambling stories. And so I thought that would be a good place for us too. So I kind of reached out to them, and they only support in terms of, like, there's a nonprofit for hearing in Bristol, and I'm on that board. It's Bristol Regional Speech and Hearing. And believe it or not, it's like drastically affected them because they completely support themselves with a bingo game every week. And so since the casinos come in, the bingo has dropped down, right? And so we were asking them just as a board, hey, since you've come in and affected this nonprofit, which has been here for 60 years, will you donate back? And they're like, we only donate to our own nonprofits, which is for gambling addiction. So they will not, like, I'm just telling you, they are really hard to work with. I mean, maybe some of the businesses directly around, like, I mean, but in terms of working directly with the casino, they won't let you do any type of advertising.
Yeah.
So
I would be on the lookout as they expand. There's probably more advertising opportunities as that property builds out. But I do get that. And it's tough. I know that if you have specific kind of promo items that they've done, they want to have local things in their gift shop. Hester's Fudge is selling to the casino now, to several casinos. So you can get Hester's Fudge all across the country in different Hard Rocks now. So there are certain placements and certain things, but I will say it's probably going to be paid advertising, and it probably won't get more robust until that property gets bigger.
How do you feel about billboards? That's something we've done the health focus in the Bristol Herald paper. It was about $600. Mm-hmm. And I don't feel like we kind of track when they come in and fill out their paperwork at the bottom, like, how did you hear about us kind of thing. And we didn't get one single hit off that. But then there's this little restaurant in Lebanon called, it's back in the corner, Pat's Country Diner. And it's kind of like a Cracker Barrel for Lebanon, Virginia, and they have these little stands. See, Cracker Barrel won't let you do. I mean, if Cracker Barrel would let me advertise, I'd be golden. But they have these little silver stands, and they've got like the little loop, and they have like a little 4x4 little card. And we went in there to eat, and there was a realtor at the time. So I asked the girl, I was like, hey, do you change these cards out? And she said, we do. It's $50 a month. So I had the cards printed up for $16. I paid $50 different months, so $150 total. And we've had like 10 patients off of that little card on that table. So it's so funny how things, like, it's not the things you think it's going to be. But we've been looking at billboards, but they're like a couple $1,000s. So is that a good one, or?
Billboards are tough because you're really only getting like 10 seconds of somebody. So you really have to pay for the length of time. So doing a billboard for a month is not a good use of dollars, in my opinion. If you're going to do a billboard, work with a company that does geofencing. So that means that also if a rider in that car is on their phone or listening to Pandora or something like that, they're going to get advertisements from that billboard because they drove by it. So if you can geofence and have that repeat ad happening. So if you're curious of how that works, listen to Pandora, as long as you're not paying for it. If you're using the free Pandora, next time you drive out of the area, listen to it for a few hours and your ads will change depending on where you are. So a lot of that is it's tracking your phone, but it's also you're getting geofenced off of billboards. I would say, Jennifer, look for more opportunities like Pat's. Figure out, ask your customers where they eat. See if there's other things that you can do there. I wouldn't give up on the Bristol Herald Courier ad. I would recommend doing a trackable QR code as a better way to measure that. So if you're going to do a print ad, and if you'd have told me 10, 15 years ago that QR codes would be a thing, I would have said that you're crazy. Mm-hmm. But COVID really gave us QR codes back. And you can use services like Bitly, BITLY has a QR code generator. You pay for that per month, but you can then track your codes and see if people are scanning them. So every time you do a print ad, you could do a different QR code, place it on that ad, and then you can see if people are scanning them. And people are so used to it from the pandemic that no matter the age range, they know how to scan a QR code. Yeah.
So we have several people that have their hand raised.
Yep.
Did you mean to raise your hand? We'll start with Angelina.
Yeah, so I actually had a quick question about the way that I've been told by a lot of people just as we've been starting up, that if we use Facebook and Instagram, that they recommend we link them. But my question to you would be like, since both platforms have different audiences and different things that really let you succeed on the app, such as if you should post text, if you should do a reel, if you should do this or this, would you recommend linking them so that you go from whatever you post on Facebook automatically goes to Instagram? Or would you recommend trying to work the system separately? And even if you're using similar or the same content, just posting it separately in a certain way to get that to have more traction?
Yeah. So it's actually not mutually exclusive. There's a nice in between for you there. I would link them because then you can use the Meta Business Manager together for both. So you can, if you're pulling analytics, you can be looking at Instagram and Facebook in the same page without having to click out there or anything else. And once you have them linked in Business Manager, you're going to have the option of how you want to post things. So you'll be able to toggle back and forth and choose both Facebook and Instagram at the same time. So if you have a really great photo, by all means, post them both to Facebook because they're going to do well in both places. But if you have something that's a little more text heavy, just post it to Facebook, and then you can toggle back and forth between the two. But that's going to save you a little bit of time on your posting. But you don't have to just because they're linked doesn't mean that all the content's going to go to both places. You have that flexibility and that choice.
And then Alex Kitsy has her hand raised.
Yep.
A couple of things. Since we're talking about advertising, Shaked offers paid advertising on the tables, which is really helpful in the summer because they're so busy.
I was gonna say that.
Well, I was just thinking it. But my question directly is, I did used to use the paid advertising quite a bit on Facebook and it worked. But now I've noticed that it doesn't work as well as it used to, and I've changed my target audience. Actually, I think a few years ago, maybe it was Kathy that had mentioned the barter, what they target, who they target, and I actually put that in and it seemed to help. But now it just, I don't know. It's like it just fell off.
Yeah.
And even though I set a big budget or a somewhat big budget for like an event or even a sale, I don't get the traction that I used to get.
Yeah. You're not alone in that. A lot of people have been saying that. And so one thing I would encourage you is to include video content as much as you possibly can. But then to also follow any suggestions that they're giving you when you're placing your ads. So, I mean, anything like if it says, do you want to include this? Just click yes and try it and see if starting to follow the suggestions help out too.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I can't stress enough that Tanya's office, they have all the information. Now, you can't just pick up the phone and call and say, can you tell me this or can you tell me that? But Tanya, if especially an Abingdon business needs a little bit of guidance, if they called and asked for an appointment with you or Chad, wouldn't that be a pretty good idea?
Absolutely. We're happy to give you any of the analytics that we've collected and let you know kind of what's been working for us and what doesn't work for us. So yeah, feel free to give us a ring.
We've got a couple of questions in the chat. Jean, you're asking about magnetic signs on your vehicle. Yes, I think those work. When Sandy introduced Letterpress, she talked about rural marketing. And you have to do just a little bit of everything where we live. One of our best examples of that is we had a client who's a higher ed center in Southside, and they fired a Richmond agency. And when the Richmond agency said, well, I'm sorry, we never got to do the bus stop signs, they were just like, we don't have bus stops here. But in the end, they were trying to grow a workforce development program And we encourage them to, instead of spending money on advertising, spend money paying for lunch for the 12 guidance counselors they were trying to reach, who then could reach the students and then could reach the parents. So anything that you can do that's going to reach people, just because it seems old school or outdated, there's a good chance that it will work here. But again, if you're going to do that magnetic car sign, I highly encourage you to make it match your branding. So that way, then when somebody sees that magnetic car sign and then sees you again on Facebook and then sees your print ad in the Bristol Herald Courier, it's all getting connected. And then Jennifer, you had a question about the barter. So what Kathy's talking about is using the analytics of where the audience is coming from to advertise to. But I believe they still do advertisements in the programs. Is that right, Tanya?
They have farmed that out to a third party. So they are not doing that in-house anymore. And they've kind of reduced the way that they do packaging and some different things. The one thing that barter will share with you probably is zip codes, but they don't even share like their mailing list or share any of the information that they have with the tourism office. Okay. So I don't know. You might reach out and see. I know the stage sponsor, so Abingdon Olive Oil, gives away a prize for the person that's from the furthest away at every show, and she gets some advertisement that way. We learned today at our TAC meeting that there's a lodging partner that now is going to partner with Barter on that. He's going to give some nice stays for some of these people who are from furthest away. So that could be an option. I will also tell you that the Abingdon Olive Oil Company buys billboards. So I don't know if there's an opportunity for anyone to partner with her. She's a great partner, and she's willing to do lots of different things to help people in Abingdon and cross promote. So she shared her billboard last year with the Virginia Highlands Festival for a couple of months. So I would reach out to her and just kind of see. Jennifer, there's a new restaurant where Shoney's used to be that's they're remodeling right now. It's going to be called Fiddler's. And I don't know what opportunities might be available there. But I would also look at restaurants and businesses that are not corporate. So you all are mentioning you could get a lot done at the casino. And sometimes those corporate partners don't have the flexibility to partner the way a small business. So concentrate on your small business partners and folks who have locally owned businesses, because the corporations are concerned about, their big brand, and they don't want to clutter up their counters and have all kinds of things going on in their facilities. But I would just focus on your smaller and local partners.
Absolutely. And those community boards, they still work. People look at them. Here in Marion, there's one in Sisters Cafe. So just be on the lookout for opportunities for you to place your rack card, to place your business card, to make a little graphic and print it out and put it up there. But again, all going back to your branding, making sure that everything's pointing to the same place, that you've got a call to action that's clear. So whether it's call us or visit us online, stop in and see us, making sure that you're asking people to do something is the best way to get the most from either free advertising or paid advertising.
One thing that I have been doing recently is if I go out to eat, we're sitting down at the table, when we leave, we will put one of our rack cards or some information, we leave a tip on the table and just leave it with the server, because a lot of times if they don't need it or they don't keep it, they'll put it in their break room or, something so that other people will see whatever information you're leaving.
Yep. Now, have your business cards on you, have something to give to folks when you're talking to them. You never know who a potential customer might be.
Cassie,
Jennifer, there's another
for you guys. I'm sorry. Was somebody talking?
You go ahead, Jennifer.
I had an idea for Cassie, actually. I think I told Kitsy about it already. So I have 3 teenagers, and they have nowhere to go after prom. Like they go to Waffle House or, and I was like, if you guys could do like ice cream after prom, I bet you'd have a lot of kids. And there's like proms on different, every weekend for like a month, and get it to the schools somehow because those kids, like, they don't usually stay the whole time. I know mine never do. Last year, my son came home at 9:30. He said he was bored. But I mean, you spend all that money on a tuxedo. I'm like, you go back until 11 at least. But I don't know. That's just an idea I had for you guys. I don't know, if you like it or not, but something to do for them after prom.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. One thing we've been talking about a little bit is like maybe game nights or something, like a family game night every so often. And but just to touch on what Kitsy mentioned a little while ago, we do have our table advertisements that have been pretty successful. We've actually gotten some good feedback from the businesses that have paid to display their advertisements on our tables. So if anybody's interested in that, definitely let us know. And we're coming up on the time frame to swap them out. So there's opportunities.
Yep. And there's always opportunities with those special events to partner with another local business. So that idea of ice cream after prom, maybe partner with a local photographer who will come and you'd have a package that you're going to get a photo of you eating, having ice cream with your date and a milkshake. And there's a set price for it. Or a game night. Is there a local business that you can partner with? So again, taking that nugget of an idea and bringing in other businesses, other community partners, you can help leverage that idea further out.
Think about Spot of Color partnering up with Tumbling Creek Cider Company to have sip and paints, those types of things. Jennifer, there's also a group that meets at the Higher Education Center. It's the College of Older Adults. And Ed Morgan is the organizer of that group of people. And it's basically volunteer instructors who go in and teach older adults whatever they know about or whatever they specialize in. So you can do yarn, and learn how to crochet. There's sewing. They do some outdoor recreation type of things. We go about once a quarter and educate them on the calendar on our website and all the events going on in Abingdon. But that would be a good opportunity for you, and maybe some of your customers ride the Lynx bus. So that's the transit system that picks up folks and takes them to doctors' offices and to the grocery stores. So you might reach out to Mountain Empire Lynx to see if there's an opportunity that you could have some rack cards or something on their buses.
Any other questions?
What's your thoughts on partnering with social media influencers? Being a lot of the people that watch them are really abroad, they're not local. So the chances of them coming into your locations, unless they're coming to visit you, tourists, but do you think it would be not really a good use of money if you partner and pay a social media influencer that has a lot of followers and a lot of people watch them, but with the low chance of having somebody come in because they, like I said, they are so abroad?
Yeah. I smile because that one is really tough and there's a lot of people have different opinions about it. I think on a local level, if you could find somebody who has a strong following, and partner with somebody on a local level, that's good. From my background, the times that it's worked best is when it has come through like Virginia tourism. So Tanya would be a good resource for when they might have a travel writer coming through. Or if you can offer some sort of incentive, like so a lodging partner being able to give a night to a travel writer. If you can invite a travel writer to come and have a tour, those are all things that you could work with the Convention and Visitors Bureau to do. But typically those kind of if you're getting any cold messages from an influencer, I would really think carefully about what they're asking for. and how much money they're asking for to do it, because that's a little suspect, in my opinion.
Well, not necessarily they would reach out to me, but if I reach out to them and say,
Yeah.
hey, I've got this business, and they love the idea, they love everything, they would, yeah, sure, I'd be a part of it, but I want blah, blah, blah to do that. And like I said, I'm paying that much money, and not say I've done this, I'm just speaking generally.
Yeah.
I'm paying you $500 to mention my business, but yet the people that are watching you are all over the world. And to the channel. So I feel like that would not be a very, even though they have a lot of influence by name, influencer, they are not really doing me much good by bringing me business by mentioning it. So I just don't feel like, do you agree that would not be a very good use of funds?
Probably not. I would say that making sure that you have your own channels in order, that you're paying for social media advertising. There's a lot of other paid things that I would do before you get to that. Now, if business goes super well and you've got all kinds of budget and you want to try it out, I would encourage you to try it out. But I wouldn't have I wouldn't put a ton of stock in what your return might be.
So we worked pretty diligently, John, through Virginia Tourism Corporation and a PR firm that we contract with to vet all of our influencers and travel writers, because you do have those folks who are looking for a free vacation and you really get no return on investment. So they're able to really tell us the writers who write for Garden and Gun, which we were in last year. They help us to find the Southern Living writers, which we were in 2 or 3 times last year. So, you can get some smaller publications as well. Usually the investment that you put in is either we are paying for lodging and meals, or we have partners through lodging and restaurants that help us to offset some of those costs. But we do work pretty hard to vet those, because you do have the folks who are just looking for a nice trip to Abingdon. And I would brush up on all of my customer service skills for you retailers, because when we do have those writers in town, sometimes they'll ask for an itinerary, and we'll plan their entire trip, and they'll get that itinerary and they'll go directly by that itinerary, and they won't sway from that at all. But then we have some that will say, I want to do this, this, and this, and then I want some free time. So you don't ever really know who's going to be walking into your shops. So I would be mindful of all of that as well.
So we actually, at Shaked, I didn't know this, but there was someone in town. I guess he does a bunch of trails all over the country, and he does this really cool podcast video thing talking about all the trails. And I actually had a customer come in and say, hey, did you know you were on YouTube? And I said, no. And so I went and I found the video, and it was like a 2-minute section talking about Shaked, and he was in our shop and having one of our little things and talking about the employee that was there. And it was really neat, because I went back afterwards and looked, and he has a great following. And I don't know if it brought us any business, but it was just really cool that he took the time to talk about us. And we were right up there with the Barter and the Martha, and there's little old Shaked right there on YouTube. But Tanya, I do have a question for you. So, at the building that used to be 149 Suites, there's that red bench outside that has an advertisement on that.
Yes.
Is that sponsored by the town? Is that something that we don't do anymore? Do you have any idea? Because we've talked about that and thought it'd be an awesome idea. Little bench advertisements.
I am assuming that belonged to the business at some point in time. I don't have any knowledge of where that bench came from or who it belongs to. The town does have a memorial bench program right now. So if you'll notice at the little green space by the phone booth at our office, there are 2 really nice black benches there. And one of them has a little gold tag on it that the class of 1971 bought in memory of some of their classmates. So while we were ordering those benches and we're paying for shipping, we just ordered 2. So the next time someone would like to have their name put on a bench, we'll already have a bench in place. So we are hopeful that at some point in time, there'll be a lot of matching benches all around town.
Okay.
Tanya, is that something that business owners could purchase? Like maybe we could get a bunch of us together to do that, because I think it would be so nice to have something cohesive all down Main Street.
Absolutely.
Because we do have a lot of older folks who come, and they do like to have a seat every now and then.
Absolutely. We would, of course, we have to be ADA compliant. So there would be opportunities for benches at some places and maybe not others. It would depend on the width of the sidewalks and where they could be placed. But yes, I think we can certainly talk about that.
I think it would be really nice.
Okay. We'll chat.
Yeah.
The town is also looking into a cohesive wayfinding signage and welcoming signs into town. So I think that's going to make a huge difference for anyone that might be interested in having a business that isn't right on Main Street. It will be guiding you off to Main Street to whatever attractions are not right on the main strip, and some really nice brick columned welcome signs at the entrances of Abingdon. So we're working on several projects that I think is really going to make some improvements.
One thing I want to say too about Abingdon is Abingdon and the surrounding area is there's so many opportunities to do, like we have so many festivals. We have like Plum Alley, Highlands, like there's Damascus Trail Days. There's all different kinds of opportunities. We've tried to get in some of those. And sometimes just being a good person and like just donating your time, like we did Special Olympics. And like when people see you doing that kind of stuff and they know your heart and they see you're a good person, you get referrals just off of that stuff. So sometimes I think just, going out and serving your community and being a good person leads to people coming back around, and we have so many opportunities in having to do that. It's actually a really great place to start a business, I personally think. So, hopefully we'll get in on more of those this year. We missed Plum Alley last year, but we're hoping to get in on that one this year. So if I missed
a couple
one,
of free opportunities, Jennifer, that you might think about is we do the Main Street Trick or Treat every Saturday, the Saturday before Halloween. And if your business is not on Main Street, we offer a space at the Visitor Center. So you can come and set up a table and give out candy or give out promotional information about your business. And then we do a
start buying candy now.
Yes, start buying candy now. It's a little crazy. But then we have the Festival of Trees. And this year we had 8 trees on the lawn and 3 Christmas trees on the porch. And we had 10 Christmas trees inside of our building. And we opened that up to businesses and organizations to decorate. And then we invite all of our guests to come in and bring some items. This year we collected personal hygiene items for United Way. And they gave those to all of the closets in the schools for students that might not have access to personal hygiene items. And then we collected dog and cat food for the Animal Defense League and Happy Tails Pet Rescue. So we collected over 2,200 items this year to give to those organizations through that. So you all be saving up your Christmas decorations and your candy, and you can participate in those 2 things.
And I would encourage you all to budget for those things because those are all marketing opportunities. So your marketing budget can include new decorations to do your tree at the visitor center or candy for trick or treat. Bonus points if you put like a little sticker for your business on your candy. I know that's a lot of pieces to do that on, but
tell them about your M&Ms, Alex.
Do what?
Tell them about your M&Ms.
Oh yes, if we were in person, I would have brought them. Like Letterpress, we have little M&Ms with our logo on them. But those are all marketing efforts. Your marketing budget can also include a line for sponsorships because as small businesses, you're gonna have the band boosters calling on you for a sponsorship, or the football team or the bank. All kinds of different organizations will ask for sponsorships. But making sure, again, that's another place. If your branding is all shored up and you know what you're doing with your branding, then when you submit that logo to be included on, on the banner at the football game, or to support, the radio broadcast of the games, those are all good ways to market to the community. So I highly encourage you to include community efforts in your marketing budget too. And one quick tag about the Appalachian Trail hikers. Don't sleep on the AT hikers. There are a lot of bloggers. That is a huge trend on the AT. And as an AT community, you're going to see hikers. If you want to follow a good business to follow, Marion Outdoors, he does really well with getting people to talk about his business that are hikers, but also when they come in, he'll interview them as well. He has some interesting video content too. But if you're interested in the AT crowd, that's a good local business to follow to kind of see how that marketing is working.
Anything? I have a question for Tanya. Okay. So I know we have the tearaway maps in a lot of the businesses. Is the town of Abingdon looking into possibly, and I think this would be a good idea to, and a lot of business will get in on it, creating an app, an app, if you will, that you can, just like the paper map, you flip side and there's all restaurants or there's all retail. And then in the same way in the app, you can go and search for certain stores and it'll give you a map directions to that store. And that way it would also link to that company's website and so forth. Is the town looking into doing any type of app that would benefit the businesses in Abingdon?
Chad has created some interactive maps for arts and for history attractions. We could probably do something on the website. An app is like anything else. It's got to be updated, and you've got to keep the information updated for it to be viable. And we concentrate on trying to get many different kinds of customers to come to Abingdon. So we do print materials. We have some interactions on our website. We do lots of social media. So I don't know. We could think about that. We are looking at a history, the possibility of a history app. And if that goes well and it's not so expensive, we might could come across and look at some different ones. But just because there was grant monies available for an app for Virginia 250, so that's the history portion of it.
Yeah, I've had the conversations with Chad a few times about, and he said, yeah, that would be a pretty cool idea. Something to bring up whenever I talked to you or saw you in person. And when we were at our meeting, when we were in our first time flyer about it, and I just thought about with the marketing, and I've talked to Chad about that, and that I feel like it would be a good marketing tool for a lot of us because everything is so technological. And I know you want to reach people through paper, but in this day and age where we are so technology centric, I feel like an app would be very beneficial for a lot of us.
Yeah, but we'll check into it, John, see if we have it in our budget.
So if every business had a QR code on all of their, promotional information, then you can make sure that what your customer is getting is up to date. That's probably easier. The town had an app at one time, and in 6 months, it was out of date.
Yeah.
In 6 months, it was out of date. So, I don't work for the town anymore, so I can say things Tanya probably can't say, but apps are very difficult. QR codes are much, much easier because it's on the owner of the business then to keep their information up to date and what you want your client to hear or see.
So
we spend a lot of money on a calendar that's on the Visit Abingdon website. So it's a calendar that goes out. If you create a Facebook event, it will pull your information in. You can go on and submit your event to our calendar. And if you go on to that calendar, there's events already on there all the way through August and September. Again, some of that stuff is very expensive, and we have to sit down and comprehensive look at, what we can actually do in print, what brochures we need to print, what we need to do on our website, how much we need to spend on social media, so that we're touching, a little bit of everything, because you are talking about the barter, getting the barter customers, and very many of the barter customers are still picking up brochures. Barter is still printing a 2024 season because their customers want to have that booklet in their hand. So as we're looking at that, we're trying to look at comprehensively all the people that we can touch with the budget that we have.
And I just wanted to know, Canva's been mentioned a lot, which I love Canva, and you can create QR codes now in Canva and have that directly put on your flyer or whatever it is that you're creating, or your video.
Yep. Canva's not made those trackable yet, but I wouldn't be surprised if that's something that they start offering.
And once you publish a QR code, you can say something creative like, view this QR code for your secret discount, or when you say words like secret, unique, mysterious, people love that.
Exclusive.
Exclusive. Yeah.
VIP.
Yeah.
So something that I had made a suggestion about a while ago was not necessarily an app or something like that, but the town already has a website that has a lot of listings and things on it, but maybe do like a window cling with a QR code to the town website that maybe we give all the business owners, and we can stick it on our windows. So if someone is walking around, they can scan that code. It's the same code on everybody's window, whoever decides to participate. And if, they're looking at my shop and they want to find a clothing boutique, they can look and just kind of scroll, things like that.
Through the shopping. So for you, it would be like shopping, and for the lodging, it would be a lot that would take them directly to a lodging page and that kind of thing.
Yeah, you could do something like that, or even just make it simply just to the town page, because a lot of people, if I go to Charleston, I don't think to look at the Charleston welcome page, but if the QR code's there and it says something quick like, let us help you find your way, or something like that, maybe someone will scan it and say, oh, look, there is all these other things on the other side of town.
Yeah. Very good.
We put a question in the chat about how to be nominated for the Best of Abingdon.
Well, the Best of Abingdon, again, we got a budget that we have to kind of stay within. So right now we have 30 categories. So it starts around the 1st of March, and we usually vote for about a month. And we promote that pretty heavily during that month. And you go into those 30 categories and put in your favorites of whatever the categories are. And then we spend April kind of tallying everything up. We get yard flags, we get window clings, and we get certificates. And we come out in May, which is Small Business Month. Our town council will read a proclamation about small businesses. And then we are like Publishers Clearinghouse. We come out and we walk into your business and we say, yay, you're the winner of the best, whatever. And we give you a certificate and a flag, and you get a little bit of a Facebook Live on social media for that. And it is really fun to keep up with that page and watch that page while we're out doing that, see who else is watching and all the things that are going on. So it's just kind of a little fun project that reminds people really of what we have locally. And to support local businesses.
And once the town publishes that, there are certain businesses around town that push it out to the data they've collected of their own customers to get their customers to go online and vote for all of the best that they think are the best. And so, I know a couple of businesses that push all of that data out. So they're promoting the town's contest, but in promoting that,
they're asking people to vote for their business.
They win. That's right.
Yeah. And I'll tell you that one year Chicken Little won the best breakfast spot, And the only thing they did was put table tents on every table that had the link to the Survey Monkey for you to vote. And that is all they did, but they won the best breakfast spot.
And Tanya, you all push that out on your website and social media, correct?
We do.
Okay.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's 8:06. Do you have any more marketing questions that are exclusive to your business that Alex can answer for you?
And Alex, you hinted that the importance of your pitch, and I just want to remind folks. I hope you are practicing your pitch. Find some friends and family to help you home in on that, because that's part of your grading. But if you need help with it, we've got some tips on a site where you can go to look at some. You can also look on YouTube, but also there is a page or a document on the shared marketing resource folder that I have created that Nita sent. And if you don't have that, let me know. That there is a list of all of the business challenges for the last, 5 or 6 years, all the business pitches. And you're welcome to go there and look at those to see what others did and take notes of what worked and what didn't. And please be prepared for that. And goodness, I hope you're working on your business plan.
8 minutes for the pitch. Your pitch is 1/3 of your grade. Your written business plan is 2/3 of your grade. Your financial statements are a big part of your business plan.
And I have dropped my email in the chat, and Sandy will be sending out the presentation, and my email's on the end slide of the presentation. But if y'all have any questions as you're working on your pitch and working on your business plan, I'm happy to answer them for you.
Yeah, your slides have been uploaded to the materials folder, so you've got it. You got access.
Very good. And I sent you an updated one that has the correct.
Got it. That's the one I put.
Very good.
Alex, one more thing I did want to share about the Best of Abingdon. You do have to have some competition. So one example is dry cleaners. And at one point in time, we had a couple of dry cleaners in Abingdon, and one person bought all the dry cleaners out. So now we only have one business owner who's a dry cleaner. So that category's been scratched out. And businesses do have to be operating in the Abingdon proper. So they have to be in the town limits of Abingdon for this contest. But use all of your friends to really promote each other. Because we had the limit, we don't do like types of food, but we do breakfast, lunch, dinner, desserts, that type of thing. And then we try to always include the best new business so that people have an opportunity. But you've got folks who collect data from their square, and at an instant, they can send out something to say, please vote for us. I happen to go to a salon that uses Schedulosity to make appointments. So we send out the Best of Abingdon, and I get a message on my phone from Schedulosity saying that Cutting Up is asking you to vote for them in the Best of Abingdon contest. So they also put QR codes at every station last year so that people could just scan their phones and get to the survey and vote for their salon. So there's a lot of really creative ways that you can ask the folks to vote for you in the Best of Abingdon. And a couple of categories, if you don't fit exactly in one of the categories, like I said, the best new business, there's some different kinds of opportunities.
Okay, folks, I think we've completed this session. If you have more questions, Alex has provided her information, and she would probably be willing to answer another question or 10. And we will see you again next week for our, what is this?
Where's the money? And we'll have 2 lenders and come with your questions. I've asked them to address how they look about their companies, but also how they look at loans and what's required so that you have a better idea moving forward for your business. So come with those questions. And again, I can't stress enough, be ready for February the 20th for pitch night, and your business plans are due on February the 21st electronically. So
thank you, Alex. Great job.
Thanks, Alex. You did great.
Thank you, Alex.
Especially since you were sick, you get my vote. You're
Thank
my
you.
hero. Thank you.
It was nice to meet y'all. Good luck.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.